other people to be the same way.
And I love what you're saying, and I respect you, but I want to share something with you. I've been running a Facebook page all about vegan for several years now, and I have learned how to communicate individually with each person, and not one size fits all in giving the message. So I have had to learn that, and I absolutely totally respect that I got the opportunity to learn how to respond. And sometimes it's not real pretty, and sometimes it's like angel soft, and that's just the way it is. So, but we went through this earlier today on many accounts about how people voice themselves. We've been going through this all day. We have been going through, this is kind of like, we've been going through this all day about how people say things, but how do we ever get to the point if we can't all just be allowed to express ourselves? And how about, instead of backing it up and taking it into a weird place, that we expand on it with our consciousness? And we grow that place, instead of going, I don't want to, oh God, you fucking stuck me in the ass with something that's really, doesn't feel good. We can do this all day long. It's been done all day long. That's the truth. But why don't we go to a place where we just all go, hey, we're all here for the right reason. We all want to see something grow and mature and freaking become conscious on this whole goddamn whatever the fuck it is, planet Earth and space and whatever. But why are we constantly drawing the line saying, that's not acceptable. Your vision, the way you speak it, that's not acceptable. That's the problem. Everything is accepted. If you guys really want to freaking have a meeting of the minds, of the intelligence, of the radical collective, whatever, if you really want to do that, then why is everything open? Why are we putting labels and rules on everything? It's the same old. That's goddamn politics.
I have 3 kids of my own. The oldest one is 17 and the small one is 7. And this should be like a family oriented place where if I have my 7-year-old or my 9-year-old beside me and they're listening and they're trying to learn out of this, and unfortunately, if there's words like such, I need to pull away from them, because this is not the type of words that I bring into my house.
Myra, thank you for saying that. I, as the organizer of this meeting and the one responsible for it, I hereby impose a prohibition on F-bombs and other forms of profanity of that magnitude. And
just turned 10:02.
Beg your pardon?
Just turned. I'm in Eastern Standard Time, but just turned 10:02. I thought maybe we'd crossed over into the broadcast hour where the language gets more off color because most of the kids have gone to sleep. Or is that 11 o'clock?
All right. All right. Thank you everyone for that. I want to welcome Joey. Welcome, Joey. Good to see you. I don't know if Joey can hear me. Joey?
It said he didn't connect to audio when he joined, so he might not be able to speak to us.
Very good. All righty. Well, I thought we were on to something really good when Amira suggested that we, those who want to share why they're here.
Right. I want to continue, but I was kind of muted for the fact I had no idea there were kids on there. So I didn't know the rules. I mean, there were no
No,
rules.
there's no kids right now. It's here in Arizona. It's barely 8:03. I've been in my room by myself. I'm giving this as an example because we don't know who's logging in because there's people that had been invited and we have posted this in several groups, and I'm talking for them, not for myself.
Then I missed. This was not an all-adult group.
All right. Well, no harm, no foul. Now we know. And this will be kid-friendly, family-friendly, and prohibition on profanity.
Could I just add on to that?
Please.
Because I feel like right now we're in the very early stages of collective intelligence infrastructure. Like we're all gathered here in this one Zoom room, but the potential that this has to grow. I mean, it won't be long before we'll be able to have our own meetings, have our own conversations, and then when you enter into a conversation, there's a list of things you consent to. We're gonna drop F-bombs in here. We're gonna like talk bad about Trump, or I don't know, whatever it is. You'll have some kind of barriers to entry that you have to overcome in order to enter into a conversation, and you can set the parameters for yourself. But I do feel like at this point, we want to limit the barrier to entry into this conversation space as much as possible, so that we're casting a wide net.
Exactly. Beautiful.
I was trying to think of a way to articulate it. A lot of what we have to talk about is very sciencey and very educated, highbrow kind of stuff. So we're occasionally going to have guests that are used to that kind of forum, and this is a good opportunity to practice that. I think that most institutional talk is very, very straight-laced and follows United Nations kind of rules. But I think that there should be opportunities for us to let loose and have more emotional kinds of conversations. But it has to be something that everybody signs into, because some people are very, very affected by language. Some of us like to use it because it's very effective, but I think there's some people recoil from language. So there's it's a good to have these things established, and James made the point that he'd like to make that point, establish that now for this group.
Very good. All right. Well, I think we have a lot of potential here to explore some collective intelligence and various facets of collective intelligence. And Sanjay, you've made some really good points. Please continue. Love listening to you and what you have to contribute.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sanjay, may I share with you and with everyone kind of the big idea, the basic idea of the form of collective intelligence that we're co-creating here. This video conference is being broadcast and recorded, and it will also be transcribed later. And that transcription is a very useful thing, because now I'm going to go all the way kind of into the future. Imagine that we had 1 million such conversations happening in parallel, okay? On myriad different topics, everything from political transformation to economic transformation to spiritual transformation to diet transformation, veganism, et cetera, and all the way to solar radiation management and cooling the planet with mirrors and all kinds of cool stuff. And not obviously not every idea expressed in every video conference is going to be a valuable one. I believe that now with all of these conversations transcribed, someone coming into this space could search among the vast space of these growing transcripts to find that conversation that most closely matches to their intent. In what ways do they want to contribute to saving life on Earth? What is your passion? What do you want to do? And because among millions of conversations, there will be some that will just be like, wow, this is the group of people I want to be talking with, about the topic I want to be talking with, about, and even in the culture in which I want to be co-creating, right? And that's something we talk about a fair amount, is the culture of these different meetings and what we're creating here. So that's the big idea, is that through this openness, this transparency, this transcription, and of course, once a conversation is transcribed, it can be translated and indexed in multiple different languages. So one can search in whatever language they want. And please. Yeah.
And part of the dream, like, I've really geeked out about having this pool of conversations. Obviously, not every conversation people have needs to be full public and broadcast to everyone, and you're sharing all your information. No, you're still going to have conversations that you are going to want to have private that you're also going to have over video conference. But having the option for people to contribute to this repository is super powerful and could allow us to generate artificial intelligence, which can't exist without that database, or it might exist and it's just not open to the public. It's a Google has access to whatever, or the NSA has access to whatever, but this would allow for just like an open source everything is like that. That's a big part of the idea. And then the technology that will spawn out of that could be incredibly helpful to so many people.
And Sanjay, what I liked about what you had said is you said that all of the Japanese citizens, when they go abroad, they're like CIA agents. And that's kind of how I see this collective intelligence operating, is we all become agents for our own like improvement and solution searching.
Yeah,
Google has,
similar to
I agree.
Hello?
We're using all the tools the NSA are using against us to watch us and monitor us and filter out our information. We need to take control of our own intelligence and use the tools.
Absolutely.
Hello? Can I speak?
Please.
This is Vicky.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, a couple things. One is when I logged in, I didn't realize I was going to be like on a YouTube visually in my private abode. Not even knowing that you could see me. And number two, well, that's pretty much it. That was the main thing. I'm not very happy about that because I thought I was just joining in a conversation, not really wanting to be public. And it's not that I said anything. I'm just a very private person, so that kind of bothers me. And then he's talking about the CIA and and it's like that makes it all the more worse. But I don't even know why I'm here. I'm just curious. I'm just interested. So I don't have a real I'm here to listen and hear what people are discussing. And I'm also not a vegan. Okay, so I have a great sympathy for vegans, and I really think that people who are not vegans are not always people who don't like animals or think they're less than us. I think it's just part of it's like we were brought up eating animals. And so, for example, I recently saw an image of a dog being burned alive, and it upset me so much. And then I thought, well, hello, what are you looking at?
Well, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the chat window because someone just typed.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So, I realized that dogs are no different than cows or pigs. They're all sentient beings. It's a very disturbing. It's a very. Anyway, I don't really want to say more on that, but I heard people lecturing about veganism, and I didn't think that was what this is for, but I guess it's for anything and everything, right?
We have two general themes here. One is collective intelligence, and the other is saving life on Earth. So it's not exactly about anything and everything, but anything and everything related to those two things, yes.
And anyone is welcome.
Yeah,
You don't have to be vegan.
That's right.
You bring up a good point. We should make sure that every time we advertise, every time we put a link, to say that this is a video conference, so that you know that it's not an audio conference.
No, I think what happened, see, we've got that up on the Radish website. We make it super clear. This is a video conference, recorded, broadcast, etc. I think what happened was Guy McPherson posted the link on his website, because when I asked Vicki how she found out about it, she said in NBL, which is Nature Bats Last. So that's something I'm going to need to work with Guy on, and in fact, anyone else who we send the link to is, look, please make sure that
we'll just send an invitation or something like
Well,
that.
maybe you could,
So I'm making a mental note myself to make sure that I'm diligent about that.
maybe you could edit it, because I find it kind of embarrassing. I think if I thought you were going to be posting it on YouTube, I might have not said anything at all.
Sure. I apologize for that, Vicki. We will take steps to.
Well, it's really about taking steps to the truth and fucking killing animals for eating or anything else or caging them or anything. Yes.
Amira, remember we.
Oh, the F word.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you.
You know
Also,
what?
Amira, we have a non-vegan in our presence, so we have an opportunity to represent the vegan community well, and she clicked on the link for some reason, and we should find out what it was. If there's anything that you had in mind that you wanted to find out about, we have the opportunity to address that if you feel comfortable with it.
You're referring to me, Vicki?
Vicki, yeah.
Well, I did not read all of the website about collective intelligence. The only thing that I understand about collective intelligence is it represents a sense of solving problems which we are facing. And I don't entirely know that that's even possible, but I respect Jamin for doing everything he can. I think all life on Earth is going away. I think that includes humans. I think humans are responsible. And I respect those of you who are vegans, because you are, you're practicing what you preach.
You know what? That is what you just said was really respectful. Because, here's the deal. veganism is not a cult. We're not trying to put a belief system into anyone. We just want to elevate and evolve humanity beyond the idea that they have to suck on the tit of an animal forever. And it goes beyond that. It goes into so much mass destructiveness. I mean, it is like, ugh. It's ugh. It makes the Holocaust look like nothing.
And I agree with you. I agree with you. And I think that if they suddenly decided to get rid of animal farming,
yes,
I would not protest, and I would not go out and shoot animals in order to eat them. I'm already mostly a vegetarian. I'm mostly vegetarian. I'm just not 100%.
That's cool. You're on your way. You're on your way. The fact that you're connected with all these people tonight online, you're on your way. Something in you brought you here tonight, today, whatever. You're getting a transmission that's going to move your heart, soul, your being, everything you are. I guarantee it. And I send you my love with that.
And I really appreciate, Vicky, how you've made a decision based on animals, and this is, you know, a transition that we got to see the world make. That you start making decisions based on animals that you may never ever see with your own eyes. This is a great thing to be aware and make conscious decisions. So thank you for that. Sanjay,
I want to respond to the explanation of Jamin was explaining. One thing mentioned about this transcription of all the discussion of the videos. To respond that is excellent, fabulous idea. And are you aware of a system or a database called Ngram? N as alphabet and GRAM.
Ngram, yeah.
Okay. So I do this kind of exercise in my teaching with undergraduates. So it's a Google database of all the textbook in many languages, including English. So it's a database of all the textbooks published in last 200 years or plus, something like that.
Wow.
And it's publicly available.
Mm.
So for example, I did a test of 3 words and see the progression of publication of these 3 words: information, knowledge, and intelligence. So in which year, you know, is it from World War II, 1942, the intelligence become important word in publication. So textbook publication, any publication in English language. So we can do this search and see how the knowledge of these concepts or ideas have progressed in society. And we can look at the number of times these words were printed in the textbook. So it gives you a very nice graph. So it's the percentages of the word published and the years at the bottom. So we can see. So go to the google.ngrams and you can see this. So this is already happening. What you are, you know, visualizing for the future. And Vicky, I want to respond to you about getting scary of the CIA and all that stuff. But because you did not hear the background, why the word was used, it sounded scary. But just summarize you what I have explained. The Japanese language have 3 scripts, is unique in the world. No other language have the 3 scripts to write. And one script in Japanese called katakana, and it is used only to write foreign words. And all the Japanese who are traveling all over the world, if they find something new idea, for example, there's one Japanese guy was in Washington, DC, and in the newspaper, he found that somebody have invented a comb where the tooth rotates 360 degrees. So it's called Dr. Comb. So he wrote the note of this comb, and 10 years later, when he retired, he went through the notebook and he realized that comb is still not sold in Japan. So he contacted the company and started importing it, and he made millions of dollars. And this comb, where the tooth rotates 360 degrees, is made of steel, is bought by all the pet owners. So the hair don't strangle with the comb tooth. So because he wrote this new invention on a piece of diary, 10 years later, who could make millions of dollars of that 2-3 words he wrote. So Japanese are gathering intelligence of new ideas, new words, and publishing in the dictionary every year. And I explained that this kind of collective intelligence gathering is happening in Japan for last 50, 60 years. So they were able to develop new products faster, and new ideas they were adopt faster. That's all. An example I gave is this called cultural intelligence gathering, same as business intelligence gathered by CIA agent for American government. And today, all the people who are conscious of the food, plant-based food, diet, animals are not the food. Indian culture is the only culture in the world believed for thousands of years, animals are not the food. Animals are not the food. Indian is the only culture. The rest of the culture, they think anything can be eaten by anybody. Indians were conscious of this as a culture. That's why karma was built in as a moral value. You know, you can't do things which you don't want to do. So CIA agent was used in that context to explain what the Japanese cultural intelligence is. And today, as the member of this group, we can collect new ideas, new stories, and share with everybody so that we can help all the global citizens to become vegan, plant-based food habit style they adopt faster. That's the only purpose. And sharing, gathering intelligence. That's why I'm here.
Beautiful. Thank you, Sanjay. Joey, can you hear us and see us?
I finally got my microphone working, I think, I hope.
Yep, we can hear you. Welcome, Joey.
Oh, hey, thank you guys. This has been a great conversation all day. Been laid up on the couch with a bum knee, so I didn't go to work. And so got to see Guy. That's how I found out about you guys. And it's been just, good, great background noise all day while I've just been, chilling out. Thank you guys so much for doing this. I want to ask Sanjay, because I really don't know Indian culture, and him talking about how they eat the plants, save the animals. I love that idea. I really do. And I'm not a vegan myself. My wife went meat free for about 5 years, and but we all together we eat consciously a lot less meat than we used to. Because we see what we're doing to the planet. We're to go on kind of a topic of overpopulation. I know when I think when at the very beginning of times, you know, that was a good source of protein, especially when we still had cold air a lot of times on the planet. So, you know, especially if you're living up north, in the winter, especially, you know, probably less vegetation, probably maybe easier to go find an animal. You know, going back to the very, you know, beginning of times, and this is just my theory of thought, whatever. But to Sanjay, sorry to ramble. You know, you were talking about how you guys respect your animals. We don't do that here as a culture, and I wish we did, because we are the ones that destroy the planet the most, I think, with our military and our wars and our bases and invading. It's always broken my heart. I was in the Coast Guard, so I never killed anybody personally, but I was part of missions that were rounding up people that were like running away from Haiti on a small raft. You know, so I saw migration in the attempt of, well, we're probably going to die anyway, but it's better to try than not, because they were that desperate. And you know, being on that ship and being a part of all that, you know, even those people were given toothbrushes. The people that are coming in over the border now, you know, those kids are ripped away from their parents. They don't even get toothbrushes, and nobody in America has a problem with that. I mean, you know, at least a very good 1/3 of America has no problem with that. Like, you know, just F those people. They did it to themselves or whatever. And that's like the culture that we have here, the mentality, and it's terrible. It's so terrible. I just feel like it even goes beyond, you know, veganism and animals and stuff like that. And sorry, I was supposed to be asking you a question because I want to learn so much from, you know, you and your culture, because I really enjoyed what you've been saying. But so to get back to population, are you guys are you know, we are overpopulated here, but not as severely as other nations. So are you guys facing like a severe overpopulation problem, pollution, you know, things like that?
To answer you, can you guess where I'm sitting, in which city? Just asking you, Joey.
Yeah.
Okay.
I should know this because you just said you're from Australia. You're from Australia, but you were in Japan.
Yeah.
Forget.
So I'm in Tokyo, downtown Tokyo.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
last
yeah.
25 years. I did my doctoral research here, and I teach at university.
Mm.
If we look at the population of the planet Earth, 100 years ago, it was like 3 billion or so. Now it's like 8 billion. So within 110, 20 years, the population become double.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Mm.
So I don't see country. See, if I look at your body or you look at my body or any human's body, nothing is written. No word is written. Indian or Pakistan or Bangladesh or Japan, you know, it's all mental thing.
Right.
So we just ignore that. You know, we only need this piece of paper when we travel global. That's all. The rest is all mental. So when I was very young, like in high school, I get rid of this. And my question was in high school, why I was born as a boy in a specific country? Why not as a girl, a black girl in Africa? This was the question I had in high school. And my parents didn't have the answer. I didn't have the answer. So I thought, let's find out. So since then, I'm, you know, roaming around on the planet and, you know. So population is a government issue, not a societal issue. They need more people to pay taxes. So this is all irrelevant as a society on the planet Earth. Population is already too much.
Right.
You know.
Right. Yeah.
It's
Oh,
double.
yeah. Yeah. Yep.
And resources are screwed up.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't think that's a government problem. I think that's like like I never had children because I knew that no, this is not a good place. Bring more life into.
No, I agree with you. I'm not married and I know professional single and exploring planet Earth. So this was a decision I made in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So coming back to the, how you feel the less population. Yeah, Japanese government keeps saying, that population is getting down. The Japanese, where I am today. But again, it's a tax issue, So, and coming back to another thing that, in America, they screwed up the many things, resources, blah, blah, blah. And see, as an individual, you and me or anybody has not done anything bad as an individual consciously. This is all political stuff with these corporations and the government, and they are, screwing the things. And this happened not just in the US, in everywhere in the world you go, the people have a power and they manipulate it for, so for decades because of the media control, radio, TV, all were controlled. But today we can unlearn all this crap. They have built in our mindset that you are American, I'm Indian, and you are this. This is all crap. When I die, I don't know, where I go, what happened. There are speculations from many countries, many society, but this is the God and rest is crap, all this. This is all a story. This is all music.
Yeah.
So you listen to this music because you're born in a certain place and that music is played by your parents or once you travel, you listen all the music and you learn that, oh, all this is crap. It's just specific global. It's not a global, it's a local, specific to the territory and city. So since we are on a global platform now, we should just make them irrelevant. This issue doesn't exist. We shouldn't spend on time on these issues. This is irrelevant. So if we make the government irrelevant, the most of the problem will be solved.
How do you make the government irrelevant? Because you
without talking about this issues they have put in our mind, the population problem and decreasing population. All Western countries think their population are decreasing. All Western population, Europe and Japan especially, and many others. And in next 15 years, it will go down because less and less people are marrying and having children. This is all relevant. Look in Australia, huge space and very few people living there. Everybody have a swimming pool, So less the people is better for the planet. So yeah, sorry, I'm diverting.
No, you're spot on.
So,
I understand you, and I get where you're going and everything. Maybe you misread me a little bit in that I think we've already overshot. We've gone too far a long time ago, and and we're obviously our numbers are going to decrease. I think they're still in the increase because there's so many people still having babies. But I think they're still increasing, but they're about that. I think that's about to stop, and we're going to severely decrease very quickly. So I'm sorry if you thought that I was going into like a population argument or anything, because I mean, like, we are literally going to.
It's a hard place to be. Sajay, I totally agree with you. You know what's up, man. You know what's in the future. You know what the fuck is coming down the pike. Oh, I said the F word and I said I wasn't gonna.
Yeah. I want to say this, that since it's becoming more global and people are coming to join who haven't heard this word so often, so I will admire you if you can get rid of this word in this platform.
And I would admire you if you were to listen to the YouTube version of Osho talking about the word fuck to the world, and you actually take that
This
in.
guy was a drug addict. This guy was a drug addict.
Excuse me,
he's irrelevant. He's irrelevant. He's not a normal guy.
Wait a minute. My husband lived at the ranch in Oregon in the early 70s when Osho was building a commune out there. Now, what you saw in the movies is bullshit. Because I live with a man who grew up with that guru Osho. And I'm not saying Osho and the whole thing was perfect, because every commune and every religion brings in some kind of corrupt crap. So it's inevitable. But the bottom line is,
every Indian today hate this guy who has manipulated karma, basic ideas of Indian tenet, cultural stuff, knowledge, manipulated. One of them is also Deepak Chopra. All these guys have used Indian philosophy of thousands of years and marketed it to
yes,
Western population.
I know well about Deepak
So we don't
Chopra.
care about these guys as a society, as an Indian culture. They are drug addicts, manipulated people for last
whatever. What are you?
So,
what are
only
you?
request is if you use F word less, that would be great. That's all.
You know what? Don't tell me how to be, and I won't tell you how to be who you are. But really, I mean, come on. Do you really think we have to go on petty crap like this? There are much bigger issues that we have to address other than curse words and sexual orientation and whatever. Fuck that. Yeah. Serious ass fucking Lee. Let's get with the program, people. Because the Bible is not holding the fucking... It's been revised how many times? Oh my God. Let's get fucking real. Getting our real beings, man. Why are we so fucking programmed? Stop being programmed. Be who you are. Be who you are. Be who you are. Be what you love. Be what you feel. Just freaking do it. Ray, I know you got it. And I'm pretty sure you, Nolan, have it. Is that Nolan or Evan? I get messed up too, so.
It's Nolan.
Thank you.
I think you're expressing a lot of collective emotion, which, I mean, the whole collective intelligence thing, it is a bit cold, and if you look at data in that kind of a sense and science, and it's not very touchy-feely, and I can tell you're a touchy-feely person, that your ability to carry stories with you and make people feel things they know when they've met a mirror, right? These are valuable skills to have. But we need you in all the conversations. So sometimes we just have to practice being the nerdy, uptight, button-down collar academic.
Oh, no, I'm not saying anything against it at all. No. I'm just saying it doesn't have to be the end-all, be-all. One size fits all. No. I'm talking about we have to embrace absolute expression all over the place when it comes to caring for sentient beings. And, you know, I mean, really, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Well, it's true. It's true. When you think about the damage that's being done, the billions of animals that have gone extinct in Australia, how can we even imagine that?
We can't. We can't. I mean, that's like unfathomable. I mean, you can't, how can you even go to bed at night knowing that? And that you contribute on some level because you choose to eat cheese or milk or, you know, chicken or fish or whatever it is. Because you can't give it up because you were so fucking programmed and, you know, conditioned. Sorry.
I think
Oh,
that's
is that a bad word again? I'm sorry. I can't promise I won't do that, but I think that brings something to it. You know, Joaquin Phoenix didn't put it gracefully when he talked about, you know.
That's funny. Are you referring to the Oscar speech? Because he got bleeped a bunch on the Golden Globes, right?
No, he was awesome. I mean, he used his platform. The one thing I know about Joaquin Phoenix is that he was extremely shy. And he did not, I mean, he always went to like bear witness and do vigils and go on marches. And Joaquin Phoenix has always been in the public eye. Not even that, because he didn't want that. He wanted to speak out for animals, and he did not want it to be become a Hollywood deal. So that was his early days of activism. He did not, because I grew up in friggin' LA, and so I know. Anyways, Joaquin Phoenix did not want to bring attention because of his celebrity, you know, to the animal activist rights movements, you know, and God, that really freaked me the fuck out because I was like, are you kidding? I mean, like, God, we got to use this, you know? And so I was so happy when I grew up in the Hollywood family. My dad was a publicist for Norman Lear, and I mean 100 billion people back in Walt Disney. I mean 100 billion people back in the day. So I grew up in Hollywood.
I'm trying to remember. You said you watched Empire Strikes Back sitting next to whom?
Yes, Regis Philbin. Yeah, I know.
You can't make that.
You heard my story. Thank you, Ray. Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah, so I mean, I grew up around that. And it was like,
Carrie Fisher.
huh?
Carrie Fisher. You were saying you kind of paused. You said you grew up like, and Carrie Fisher. I don't know.
The Empire Strikes Back was like the only what was that movie thing called? Star Wars. That was the only movie I ever saw because my dad came to me and he's like, I'm, publicist for whoever, and I can give you free tickets. You can go watch this movie at a private screening at Paramount Pictures. And so I took a boyfriend back in the 70s.
Hey, Amira.
Yes.
I just wanted to tell you that I thought that you were respectfully asked, first of all, not to use the F word. And also, I really like to hear from other people, and I'm wondering if you might be willing to speak less so that other people could hear more. I mean, so that we can have more
Sure. No ego, no problem there.
Okay, great. Thanks.
I got it.
Hey, I just wanted to share that I'm really glad to have Joey here, and
Welcome back, Patty.
thanks. Thanks a lot. I was a little bit overwhelmed by what Elmira said to me earlier, and I don't want to get into a conflict resolution. I will engage in that another time. However, I was rather shaken, and I needed to a couple of times. But I have had 2 cups of coffee, thanks to my dear former husband, planning on staying up all night with you all. And my former husband, who lives above, in the house above. I'm so fortunate to live out in the country in an apartment below a beautiful house that a friend bought. But anyway, he said, oh, it's kind of like a sleepover. I thought that was really nice of him because, yeah. So I'm just wondering if somebody else who hasn't spoken for a while would like to share. And I really also, I did just want to mention to Vicki that I'm really, really touched by what you shared. And not everybody is vegan here. I am a vegan. I call myself vegan. And yet I am so empathic with people who are not, yet, because I just feel fortunate that I could have made that decision even though I was steeped in this culture. And I just want to, it sounds like you have a lot of compassion and you're an ally. And I just want you to know I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Patricia.
That was really nice. Jamin, can I ask you? I'm really fascinated by what you're doing here. This is so cool. Like I said earlier, we've been watching all day. You have. I'm assuming you're the dad. Those are your 2 boys.
No, I appreciate the compliment. I actually don't have children. Nolan is my colleague. So is Evan. We work together on Radish. Yeah.
That's okay. They kind of look like you, and all of you guys seem so intelligent and connected, and it's really beautiful to see, man. You just don't see that, and you know, if you're sorry.
They have the same dance moves too.
Yeah,
they such sync that
that's most of the work actually.
Imagine there's some apparently not.
No.
Oh, wait.
And when you
I want to say thank you, Patricia. Thank you.
I would say you guys, people that work together a lot wind up, obviously picking up a lot of the same traits, and so you guys have obviously worked a lot together because you literally look like. I mean, I just want to say, whether you're their dad or not, all of you guys, just watching you guys throughout the day, how you guys interact and everything, it's just really cool. Nobody really gets to see like all this reality television BS. Nobody gets to see like, people just hang out for the day or something like that and share intelligence. And every time Guy opens up his mouth, I learned something. Like when he made a joke this morning about Valentine's Day, I had no idea. I mean, I consider myself like above average intelligence, but to many of you, very unintelligent probably. And again, every time he opens up his mouth, man, I learned something. I met him for lunch. He actually agreed to meet with me when we was passing through. and we had lunch together, and I invited a few people that my friend that told me about him, because we're on the same page. I mean, this is what I love about the NTHE stuff is a lot of us are already there, but we don't have the science and the knowledge because all that is so centered. You know, I don't think people realize it. And sorry, I'm getting off track again. I wanted to ask you about what Dr. Yee, you know, that was such an incredible presentation they had, and I felt so much hope. It was almost like a Bernie hope for me, because I'm a Bernie, but I voted one time because I don't see voting as a real voice, and I got to clock out to go do that. And I don't have that kind of time, and I just don't see the, you know, if it's, and I live in Atlanta, Georgia, man. Brian Kemp stole our election. I'm not a Stacey Abrams, but give credit where credit's due, and that he stole that election. You know, not that I have anything personally against Stacey, but I don't know her. I don't know anything about her. She's not on my television. Not that I ever watch television. That's why we used our television all day except for just to watch this, you know, for background noise, where we were just going throughout our day. Man, it's such a fascinating thing. It's scary as hell to you know, to be alive in these times, but it's also a fascinating time to be alive because there's so much going on. Not that it's all bad. It's a sadly fascinating time to be alive, and there's no intelligence in the world. There is no intelligence in the world. Fox people are in a fight with CNN people, and they're both oil. They're both Republican and Democrat. They're both, you know, from the same buyers and owners of everything. One is just more racist and more warmonger than the other, but they're all still selling the war. Just like, you know, even when we try to stop, everyone tried to stop the Iraq war, or the Gulf War. I don't know how many, at least third, fourth, 10th, I don't know, Iraq war. Not the Gulf War, but the war on terrorism, the war after the Gulf War. Just reattacking the same places over and over again. It's just mind-boggling that we can't move on from this. And you know, just Jamin, I haven't heard from you in a while. I would just like to hear some of your comments too about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Joey. It's great to hear from you. Great to have you here.
Thank you.
So here's my perspective on some of the things you've been talking about. Is that the fundamental problems that we're facing as a species include separation is the fundamental problem, right? That we were born into a world and a culture in which we were taught that we're separate, and we're taught about ownership, and we're taught that every acre of land on this planet is owned by someone, and you need to get out there and learn as much as you can, earn as much as you can, start a business if you can, become as much of a sociopath as you can.
Where? What do you need?
Oh, I think that's Scarmendra. Okay, thanks. Become as much of a sociopath as you possibly can, hoard and accumulate as much as you possibly can. And the more one does that, the more separate they feel from everyone else, because some sort of a guilt starts to set in that they don't quite know what to do with. They're sitting on resource that could be feeding starving people or repairing damaged ecosystems, and yet they're addicted to more, and to just so many destructive forms of consumption. And so for me, that's the fundamental issue. Now, the ones who have this addiction the worst are the wealthiest. And they're attached to what they've accumulated, but they're also addicted to accumulation, to every single day watching their portfolio go up and up and up. And in a world which is fundamentally a limited pie of resources, what that really means is that the fattest slices of pie in the pie grow and grow and grow. And the only way they can grow is by taking away from those who have less. And so ultimately, these biggest slices of the pie are taking pie away from crumbs, from people who have literally crumbs. And so we're in a runaway capitalist system that is a finite game. And so amongst these wealthy sociopaths are the owners of the media. And they make money because they sell advertising to advertisers who are trying to sell products to consumers. And so the way that they both make money, the media and the advertisers, is by the media channels doing their job and painting a picture of the world where, A, everything's fine. There's, no droids to see here, move along. And B, hey, if you buy, all you really need is this product, and then you'll be happy, right? And so there you go, that's it.
And throw away your old one.
And throw away your old one. And so what's so tragic about that is that, at some point in the past, we had a free and independent media, I'm presuming. And the American people, I won't speak for other countries, but I think this is probably pretty true in most countries, people have become accustomed that, the news, the facts of record are what you read in the news, the New York Times, CNN, whatever. And so the vast majority of humanity is going around with this delusion that gets, updated and updated and updated multiple times per day. The delusion being there's no droids to see here, move along, keep hoarding, and keep shopping, right? And so we're just like a bunch of befuddled, half zombies, just kind of, just kind of limping along. And we bury ourselves in work and in stuff and in drugs and in entertainment. And it's just, we're in a screwed up state. There's just no two ways around it. And so my perspective is that the only way out is for humanity to create our own space, for people who care, for people who are committed, to create our own space, which is what we're creating right here.
Yeah, like little communities.
I beg your pardon?
Like little communities.
Well, little communities that can grow to become huge communities, but the common denominator is these are real people coming together to have actual conversations about things that matter.
Right.
Can I ask a question?
Please, Vicki, yes.
I'm just wondering, as I'm thinking about this and the current scare that we are all under with the coronavirus, and it seems to me that would create more wanting to separate and hoard.
Yeah, that's now you've got me wondering to what extent these viruses and the news about these viruses are intentional to provoke exactly that kind of response, Vicki, of more separation and more hoarding and more barricading. In the case of media, they're selling us on a delusion that everything is fine and we don't have to worry about anything and that the ship is not sinking. In the case
80 to 100 years.
Yeah.
We still got 80 to 100 years. We can turn this around.
Yeah, I got plenty of time. Let's spend the next 50 years just business as usual, because by then the technology will exist to solve the problem of year 100. And so, but really, these are people who are as addicted to money as a committed junkie is addicted to heroin, and they're just laser focused on their next fix. They're not really, compassionate, sentient, feeling beings anymore. They're more like, robots that have been impregnated with the wrong malware that just has them. I say them, I'm affected as well. And so for me, all of us are impacted by this to different degrees. Well, maybe there's some who aren't impacted at all. I don't know. But, as Guy McPherson says, we were born into captivity and raised in captivity. And we had so much of these paradigms beaten into us. I remember when I was a little kid, I just got so frustrated with this concept of money and this and that. I took a dollar bill and I just ripped it out. And my grandmother got so mad, and she made me tape it back together, and just periodically she'd take it out and wave it around and just shame me for having been so stupid or rebellious or whatever to tear up a dollar bill. But anyway, so
it's one of those things that you don't do that. That's money.
Exactly.
The most important resource on the planet. It's more important than air, food, and water.
Absolutely. No, we're still
swept up pennies and then threw it into the garbage.
Pardon me?
Ever swept up pennies off the ground? You have a penny and then you go, no, that's money. I gotta save that.
But you know what? My grandmother, their generation appreciated the value of things that I think following generations just took for granted. So maybe they were right.
Well, also, we've got a throwaway society now. So these companies have figured out they can make more money if they sell you the same product over and over and over again, rather than just selling it to you one time and that it's actually durable. Anyway, so all of this is driven by the addiction to accumulation and attachment to whatever one has hoarded. And, the more you've hoarded, the more separate you feel from everyone else. So the media is, the owners of the media are servicing their addiction. The military-industrial complex is servicing their addiction. The politicians are servicing their addiction to power. No one human being should have that much power. Nowhere near that much power. I mean, decisions should be made collectively. And so what we're creating here is, we're like, Chewbacca and Obi-Wan Kenobi and Luke Skywalker and a couple of robots, C-3PO and all. We're a ragtag team of rebels taking on literally the Death Star. Planet Earth has been turned into the Death Star. And we're here to take over in a very benevolent way, to take over with intelligence, not with military force. Here's the thing. As this collective intelligence grows exponentially, as membership grows, as the platform grows and evolves to support greater and greater levels of collective intelligence, we will get to the point that we will be orchestrating governments and we will be orchestrating elections. Now, when I say we, what I'm really talking about is liberated humanity. See, when we enter this space, we're in a space of total freedom. There's nothing to buy or sell, right? There's nothing to consume except a little trickle of electricity, right? And information. And information. We're sharing, and we're sharing from the heart, and we're connecting. And this is the first block party of a perpetual block party, either all the way to utopia or all the way to hell. But either way, we're doing this. And because as far as I'm concerned, this is the last great hope that humanity has, humanity's last best hope to get our act together. and come together. There was a sign that I saw, Melissa and I saw a photograph painted of a surfboard that had painted on it the following message: the greatest threat to life on Earth is the belief that someone else will fix it.
Yeah.
And what we are doing here is we are rebelling against that
Just
belief.
vote. Just vote. That's what they say, and I just laugh, and I'm just, just. Oh, it's so it's such an uphill battle. It's such an uphill battle.
Well, it feels like an uphill battle now, right? But as this thing starts taking off, and as we set the example for other people to see, wow, wait a second, these are actual people coming together to have actual conversations about things that actually matter, right?
Yeah.
You know, and their first thought might be, whatever, ha ha ha, there's just a few dozen of them, ha ha, that'll never amount to anything. Well, by the time there's a few hundred of us, the thing is, our strength is our diversity. And so, I may be developing some idea and I only get so far. And then Ray jumps in and and takes it to the next level. And then Patricia jumps in and sings a song that just opens up our hearts and our minds.
She's a great singer.
And then Myra jumps in, and and it just goes and goes. This is collective intelligence. What we're experiencing right now is literally collective intelligence, but it's a very prototypical. It's a prototype. It's an early form.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Which is evolving and evolving. Give us a few weeks, and we'll have multiple different rooms, even with multiple different cultures potentially, right?
That's a great idea. Yeah.
So, those of us who just really want to go hard on collective intelligence will be able to do that. Those who want to talk politics can do that. There can even be a special room for people who just want to talk trash about Donald Trump. I don't know that that'll amount to anything, but hey, if they want to. See, right now, what we've got here is one giant vegan Hungarian goulash of all these different ingredients, and we're all just in one pot together, and we're just stirring the pot, and it's, this isn't my favorite word, but it's cacophonous, meaning, just random, somewhat random, right? We've all got some common threads here, but we haven't even begun to sort ourselves out and say, look, these are the different topics we can be discussing.
Oh yeah, it's
I've got
developing.
a song.
Oh, Patricia has a song.
We've only just begun to live. We're gonna create this, everybody. We can do this together. We've only just begun.
Beautiful. Love it. Love it. Yeah, we've only just begun. And, all the technological pieces are here, right?
I just want to see Ray smile, though. I want to see his dimple.
Ray. Yeah.
That was our little laughter break. Okay, carry on.
Thank you, Patricia. So, all the technological pieces are here. I mean, look at the quality of this Zoom video conference.
It's really good. It is like I can see everything really clear. It was really easy. We have a smart TV, so we just had it on the TV all day. It still is.
Oh, nice.
Obviously, the TV's muted. So when we got on the computer just to chat with you guys, we muted the TV. But it's really good. I'll share something with you. I was a part of the first motorcycle racing pod. My friend and I started a podcast back before it was a podcast. It was Live 365. We jumped on that. It was his idea, and I helped him as a co-host. but we jumped on the Live 365, and we had 5 listeners our first show. And I hope this kind of can motivate you and all of us. But we had 5 listeners our first show. Those 5 people were 5 key people in the industry, in the motorcycle industry. This was specifically a motocross racing show. This is sports based, and we had, because of my background, we had pretty good access to, when we said, hey, we're going to do this, only 5 people tuned in, but those were 5 people that were part of the media of motocross racing. And then it just grew. They were like, you guys are sitting on a gold mine. And that made me very excited. It never turned out to be a gold mine. Now there's probably 20 motocross podcasts, and they're called podcasts now. But and I left soon after because this was around right before 9/11, and I just saw the shift in the way people acted, or their intelligence, ignorance, whatever, and money. There was more money, fun money. That's why we were able to do this show, even though we didn't really get paid for it and stuff like that. But we had a vision. But when that money left, the fun money left the sport after 9/11, I had a newspaper I was printing for 5 years. I published my own newspaper about the sport. And when that fun money, when I say fun money, my newspaper was a joke. My first paper, I didn't have a computer, I didn't have a camera, and my parents had money. They didn't see any vision in me and didn't help me at all. And I wound up having all these people just give me photos, send me stories, all these media people in the sport that were like the top level. Like they were, their photographs were top selling photographs, and they would give me their login to look at their photographs and just take whatever I wanted for free, because they liked what I was doing. And it was a lifestyle. I was trying to have fun, make fun of everything. One of my helpers, who paid for a whole issue, an athlete, X Games medalist, because he liked what I was doing and everything. He was a big anti-war guy, and he wrote a column for me. He paid for an entire publication, or a printing of actually my last issue. That was the last issue. That was his gift. It was really cool. And then the sorry to go to ramble, but the radio show still goes on. I'm no longer a part of it. I left it a long time ago because of the narcissism, and I even said, like, after 9/11, I said, this is an inside job, guys. This doesn't happen without people, at the very top, controlling the media to get the lie out and all that. Because the official story, a dude on dialysis in a cave orchestrated all this. It's just silly. And Billings Selvin, just sorry to go on a tangent, but yeah, the media is it's so terrible. And I know that, seeing through that, because I was part of that in my own special way in the motocross industry. And all those guys are narcissists. I'm friends with almost none of them anymore. And because of that, because they're all set on that, they're all pro-war, and it's really, really fascinating how people just can't see through that.
Yeah, it really is. And Joey, this is a really great example of collective intelligence, because you, sir, have experience pioneering 3 different forms of media: podcast, newspaper, newsletter, radio, right? And you have experience developing those media in a very specific niche market, right? And that is very valuable experience, because you're a thinker, and I'm guessing that, like me, you think about past experiences and you think about what you would have done differently, what you could have done differently, and all that. That's very powerful rumination, because now that you bring yourself into this game, the game of survival, not the game of survival of Jamin Shively, how do I survive? Not the game of survival of, you know, me and my family. How do we get a limited number of people to survive? Not even the game of survival of our entire species. The game of survival of all of complex life. It's all on the chopping block.
Yeah.
Until we discover life somewhere else in the universe, for all we know, we are the only intelligent life. We and the other intelligent animals on the planet, and plants and fungi and all that. For all
that are left.
the intelligent life in the universe is right here on this rock, and we're about to blow it up. I mean, come on. That's got to be
crazy, man.
Got to be the ultimate extinction play, period. It could literally be the ultimate extinction. I mean, this is the kind of thing that, I don't know, could make
this is why this is more entertaining, even though it's something that I wish there was something more entertaining to talk about, but it's more entertaining and real than anything that is on any media source, you know, television, radio, it's even hard to find, like, you know, outside of NTHE groups and stuff like that. It's really even hard to find outside of, you know, online or whatever. It's crazy that nobody wants to just have these kind of conversations and own up to what is going on, and, you know, and kind of deal with it, and just kind of support each other and being like, dude, I love, you know, I love you guys. I love this. It's like a, you know, that's all, like Guy says, all that's left is love, you know. It makes perfect sense.
I wanted to share something. Thanks, Joey, for all your sharing. And Jamin. Is this a good time for me to
Oh my goodness.
segue?
Absolutely, Patricia. Go for it, sister.
Anytime.
Well, I'm thinking about how I was involved in a number of things that went viral, and I mean that really, that I spearheaded things where I was simply fanning the flames of what people wanted to do. So I had shared another time about in 2000 how in Fayetteville, Arkansas, I'll share some more details. There was a planning. My purpose in sharing this is also to encourage and to see how this can go very quickly. It can, we're the spark that will start a wonderful, well, I know we don't want more fires, but you know what I mean. So anyway, when I was, I'd never been involved in any kind of politics before 2000, but somebody urged me to go to the planning committee meeting because they were talking about how we had this brand new tree ordinance that was going to protect the old growth trees and the canopy in Fayetteville. And right away, Kohl's department store wanted to come in and build their big box store without needing to follow our tree ordinance. They wanted our city to make an exception. So they went to the planning commission, and I was kind of funny because I'd never gotten in front of a group of, you know, official group like that before. And I just started crying. I said, or practically crying. It's like, think about the children and the trees. And later somebody said, you know, it really doesn't work with them. But this person also told me, I mean, after about 12 people spoke, and then the planning commission and us again, like they just said, hey, we have this law. Why are we going to let this big corporation violate it right away? And so when I went out, I walked down the steps with a woman who's a leader in the environmental group, and I said, well, what are they going to do now? They said because they weren't going to make the decision, and she said, oh, they're going to just try to have more meetings, but not tell anybody, so that they can make a decision without everybody seeing them. And so I said, no, they're not. And I proceeded to keep my eye open for the next meeting, letting people know about the next meeting and the next meeting. I didn't let them, and it all happened. I would gather groups and say, what do you want to do? It was really great. The Episcopal Church just let me use their room and for free. And I would just call meetings and say, what do you guys want to do? Okay, go do it. And I would just be an encourager. And hundreds of people got involved. And I was advised, one of the things I knew I needed mentors, because I'd never done this before. I didn't know what I was doing. And this one woman who knew about getting involved in stuff like this, she said, don't say save the trees, say uphold the tree ordinance, because then you can attract all kinds of people. I go, that sounds good. Now here's a funny story. I hope I'm not talking too much. Had a lot of coffee. Is this the kind of stories that are helpful?
Absolutely, because listen, Patricia, I'll tell you why. We're building a movement here to save life on Earth. Nothing is more important than this, and we need all the inspiring stories, all the inspiring life experiences like Joey's and yours. So rock on, sister, please. Carry on.
Okay, so what happened was the press was really supportive. Like, this person told me how to get the attention of the press. She said, have a sign making party. And I did that. And then they publicized the meeting because of that. And so I was the only one holding the sign that said, uphold the tree ordinance. And I was on the front page, and the press said, look, there's a protest. And there's only me. And guess what? I know you won't believe this, but as the people walked in, I had my guitar, and I said, if I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning, I'd hammer in the evening. I know you can't believe that, but I did. Okay, so I was the goofy, the one that I just couldn't believe it. They made me the poster child. I was on the front page like 3 times, and it all led to then more and more people getting involved and starting their own thing. Even people, college professors, they wanted to, and professionals, they wanted their own little group to uphold the tree ordinance. And then some hippie-like people wanted to get involved, and then it built up, you guys, this momentum, just because I kept on sending out emails and people sending out more emails and thanking me for just telling them when the next meeting was going to be, or when the next event that somebody was having. And then 200 people showed up at the city council meeting. Yeah, 200 people. Yeah. And this is because we had 3 other meetings where they would not make the decision. But they had to finally make it. 200 people, 33 people speaking. Well, also another key thing that was synergistic that I want to celebrate, this kind of, just like, Joaquin Phoenix, making that announcement at the, announcement, giving his speech just a few days ago. And then the day after, this video is going viral with Bill Gates talking about climate change and how we need to stop, animal agriculture. This is happening, just like what happened then. So Julia, I don't know if anybody knows Julia Butterfly Hill. Who knows Julia Butterfly Hill? She climbed a tree.
She was a tree sitter.
Yes. And very good. She had climbed a tree. She had never done any kind of activism. A year before our tree sit happened, approximately a year before, she had climbed a redwood tree, stayed there for over a year, got international publicity. Well, guess what? When Julia Butterfly got out of the tree, because her best friend lived in Fayetteville, Arkansas, Julia Butterfly Hill spoke at the University of Arkansas, the first place after she climbed the tree. And so a bunch of people came to that event, and that was about 2 weeks before our city council meeting. Mary Lightheart attended that meeting. A week before the city council meeting, somebody called me because I'm like the middle of the vortex, no official leader at all. I was just the middle of the communication. Collective intelligence was happening just with email. That's all we had. And all these and in-person meetings. So then Mary Lightheart, we're getting really excited now. A week before, Suzanne calls me and says, I will do civil disobedience if that city council votes to cut down the tree. I will chain myself to a tree. I will do anything. I go, oh, okay. I've never done any civil disobedience, but okay, thank you for that. So, city council meets. Guess what? They vote to cut down the trees. Mary Lightheart comes up to me and says, I'll climb a tree and I'll show them. And then I put out the word to a closer circle of trusted friends. I said, meet me at the trees tomorrow at 6 a.m. because if they start cutting, we are not going to just stand for it. So guess what? 4 ladies showed up. And also I didn't even know where the trees were. Well, I didn't know where the property was that the trees that we were trying to protect was, but I happened to, a neighbor knew. And he told me, this is how it's gonna happen, the synergy, it's all happening. Okay, so we all held hands around a tree and said a little prayer. And then Mary Lightheart says, I'll climb the tree. I'll do a tree sit. And so we boost her up into a tree. And I call the press. The press loves me because I always have exciting news. And I had to go to work. But I sent out on email, hey everybody, Mary Lightheart's in a tree. She could use some help. Here she is. This is where she's at. And so then I came back about 4 hours later after I had gone to work. Guess what? Mary Lightheart was in a hammock. Somebody came and put her in a hammock. There were all kinds of people there. The reporters were crawling all over the place, and they didn't come, even though we were trespassing. Our beloved police department did not come and try to take her out. Okay, I'm almost done. Then some people self-organized and they said, we can't let Mary, this is a true story. We can't let Mary be such a low-hanging fruit. We've got to get her up higher. And so in the middle of the night, with night vision, they climbed the tree put a platform 33 feet up, which is pretty high. And Mary Lightheart's afraid of heights, but they put her up in the tree, and for 33 days, she did that tree sit. And we got so much publicity from that every single day there were headlines, and everybody just came and supported her. It was a miracle. She did come down earlier than she wanted because of some personal problems, but the result was, sadly, they still cut down most of the old growth trees. 6 were preserved, but guess what? The total government was changed to people who are more progressive. And even though I don't believe that the government is going to be the ones to change everything, in this case, we felt empowered. We changed our government. People had things said, remember in November. And so that's my little story.
It's beautiful.
That is beautiful. Thank you, Patricia.
Thank you.
You know,
It's
listen.
the little, sorry, go ahead, Jen.
You go ahead. Jim.
It's the little victories really, you know, so important, and so important. And, you know, that's something you take with you. Nobody can ever take that away from you. You know, you did that, you made that happen. You know, and that's the beauty of our lives when we are a part of something like that. That you know, that is for the good. You know, even though, like, we had a thing here with the Atlanta Zoo to create more parking in a parking garage. They wanted to cut down trees. This is Grant Park in downtown Atlanta, where our Atlanta Zoo is. And I mean, I want to love the zoo. I know a lot of people don't like keeping animals in cage, but I'm also an armchair conservation volunteer. You know, I'm not a scientist or anything like that. I just volunteer. I used to be a chapter leader in the Georgia Reptile Society. For about 10 years, we took our animals to share them, to try to understand, and that's kind of my connection with more of how I got into find out more about. I always knew we were killing ourselves, killing the planet, but I didn't know to the level. And when a reptile friend of mine, that we've been on the same page, and it took him like even 10 years to tell me, because we talk about stuff, and he gave me some clues, and I started looking for those clues because, like, that's really interesting. I understand what you're saying. I totally believe you because he's an intelligent guy. He knows way more about natural history, world history than I do. He's a little bit older than I am. And I already know that I know more about this stuff than all of my friends or anybody that I come into contact with on a daily basis, pretty much. Except for him, he always knew, like, so much incredible history. When he gave me some clues and I looked them up, I was like, I can't find them. I'm pretty good at looking up information. And he told me about global dimming, I think, and I was looking for that, and I didn't find much. But I think in the last 6 months, there's been a lot more published about that. So there's probably more information out there than I was looking for 6 months ago. But when I had to go back to him and say, man, what animals are, I mean, what scientists are you looking up? And one of the names he gave me was Guy. And so I looked him up, and everything that he said just totally made sense. You know, and then you from there you look at the scientists that he references, and then you get a whole nother vast you know, group of people to that you would have never found had you just Googled some, you know, why is the world falling apart? So that's been really, really fascinating for me. I love I love protesters and protesting because it's our only voice. You know, like I said earlier, I don't vote. there's no voice in voting. Everything is rigged. Whether you're one person at a protest or there's a mile long of you, like a mile of you marching, the press is always, it always wins. But any little victory, it's so good to be a part of. Sorry, I got off topic there. The Atlanta Zoo wound up cutting down those trees. They didn't own up to it either. They wound up cutting down those trees for a parking deck that they didn't need. They got plenty of parking. I've been there lots of times. Never since. I'm just done with Atlanta Zoo after that. You know, they cut down these. This is Grant Park. There's neighborhoods and people there. It's downtown Atlanta. You know, people I know enjoy those trees. They're so old. That's why they're historic. They provide a lot of shade. We know we're going into wicked high temperatures. Let's try to keep at least whatever area cooler as much as we can for as long as we can. And they denied my friends that work at the zoo or volunteer at the zoo, took up for the zoo. They said, oh, the zoo didn't have anything to do with that. It was their property. They're totally copping out on, you know, just to save face, which is what everything is now. The best protest I ever went to was just recently in Atlanta, and nobody knows about this protest. It was a 1 mile long march of people protesting Kemp and Trump's abortion policy. All the, you know, everything that they're doing against women in healthcare. There was a mile long bus. This is at the Mercedes-Benz Dome to the Capitol. Like, it was literally a mile long march. There were helicopters overhead, so I know they have footage. There was zero media coverage. It was huge. I've got video. Anybody is welcome to message me. I'm on Facebook, easy to find. I'll share that video with you. It's insane. Because we're over a bridge, so we could see. In my video, I still couldn't get the beginning to the end of the march. This is huge. Biggest thing I've ever seen that I was a part of. It was so beautiful being there. It was so powerful, man. It was incredible. And the fact that there was no media, and that's when I said, you know what? Whether there's one of us or a mile of us, man, screwed. Can't you know, can't get the message out. Truth or intelligence. I mean, everything is so dumbed down. It's just like, you know, if I didn't have a good job and a good home and a good wife, it would be a whole lot tougher to live and carry on in these times. To work on time every day. And I love. That's why I love what you guys are doing in your vision, and just, you know, sharing like stories and stuff like that. I love that, the conversation.
Thank you, Joey. Well, you know, listen, all these experiences are building up to something. All of these experiences that we've had over all of our lives are building up to this moment right here, right now. It's all preparation. This is the only game in town. It's the only thing that matters. Saving life on Earth is the only thing that matters to us right now. Period. There is nothing else that matters. Why? Because if we're all dead, everything is over. Period. There ain't no coming back. There's no second chances. Extinction is forever. So we just have to stand our ground and say, humanity, come join us. We're not just coming together to, you know, bitch and complain and whatever. No, We are here building an exponentially growing collective superintelligence that will overwhelm the intelligences of all governments around the world, all universities around the world, the entire tech sector, the entire private sector, the entire religious sector, you name it. Why? Because humanity, I don't know how long it's going to take, days or weeks, but humanity will wake up. Whether it takes, half the United States catching fire, whatever it takes, but humanity is going to wake up and say, wait a second here. Something's happening here, and I'm afraid it's become painfully clear. Australia is burning down. Ice is melting, and sea levels are rising, even if that doesn't rhyme, And at some point, people are going to wake up and say, whoa, 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 whoa. This is not cool. And you know what? As soon as they have that, as soon as they articulate those words, say, this is not cool, and they tell their neighbor's going to say, well, there is this resistance movement. Huh? Yeah. There's a bunch of people, they meet every Friday for 24 hours, and they go at it, and they're going to keep going at it until life on Earth is saved. We can either help them, or we can not help them. But if we do not help them, then we're guilty of not doing something when we see that girl getting raped in Central Park. Sorry for the painful image there, but this is going to be about a trillion times more painful than that.
I have a brief song. Stop in the name of love. We've got to save our planet. Stop in the name of love. We've all got to participate.
Think it over.
Buddy.
Think it over.
I think we have a better chance of me growing a tooth. Man, I don't think we have that kind of time, and I want to because I've found more intelligence lately than I've ever found before, but it's kind of it's like if you're lucky enough to finally save up for a week's vacation, and on day 6 you find something really cool that you're like, oh, I want to do this again, but I got to leave tomorrow. You've been here all week and it was cool and everything because you didn't have to go to work for a week, but that you went to this thing this day or whatever, and it just hit you like, oh, I want to go back tomorrow, and I could just stay here and I could stay at that place and never leave. Like when we go camping, because we love to chase nature, go camping at Okefenokee, and oh man, how incredible would it be if Patricia, you're not too far, you're a couple states away. Anybody come camping with us in mid-March at Okefenokee, and right along the Suwannee River, really cheap ground, and just get out and enjoy the wildlife. Hopefully it's still there. When we were there last spring, we saw countless snakes, and that's what we love to find in the wild, because you just don't see them in the wild. And of course there's plenty of gators. You just never know what you're gonna come up on, other than obviously some gators and a lot of turtles. Saw a bear, what was it, a river otter. We followed it, and then it turned around and followed us when we were walking back. So that was really cool. We got to, probably a quarter mile away, but we were watching this river otter as it went downstream, and then it came back. Or we turned around, and when we turned around and we're walking back to camp, we realized it was following us now. And that was really special. They're just interactions with nature out there that's just so beautiful, and it's the best, you know, camp and relaxation, and just it's so spiritual being out there.
Wow. You know, I mean, the bottom line is this world, this life is worth saving. That's just the bottom line.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
And look, and if it's worth if it's been worth living up to now, when we've been living under this just horrifically omnicidal paradigm, culture, separation, hoarding, greed, ego, right, addiction, etc. If it's still worth living, can you imagine how beautiful life's going to be once we radically transform all this and create a utopia out of this place? It's possible. All it takes is collective superintelligence and our will to do it and to stick with it. It's as simple as that. Now, and that's why we have committed to these 24-hour block parties every single week. I'm just trying to see what time it is. Where did I leave my phone? Is that it? No, okay. 9 o'clock. So we're now 15 hours in. We've been at this for 15 hours. And we
You guys
got
are troopers, man.
and we got 9 more hours to go. Well, you see, you know, we're taking a page out of the Patricia playbook and do something that's just so radically crazy that people say, what? You know, and then, okay, I got to check this out. Right. Because the thing is, these conversations, we need time to have these conversations. We need time to get to know each other. We need time to sort ourselves out. We need time to organize ourselves. And so this is a really beautiful thing because we have plenty of time now. It's just every Friday. Right?
I know I got to get gout every Friday so I can do this.
Get what?
Gout. I was home all day today because I have gout. I have kidney disease. So I get gout flare-ups, and today my knee didn't work, so I couldn't go to work today because of my knee.
Well, just like you say, just flare up every Friday.
Right. Better than anything on
I'm
television.
glad that I heard you say earlier that this has been comforting to you since you've had to stay home. And, you know, there are people who are homebound to a certain degree or isolated. I'm very fortunate because even though I live way out in the country, I have a neighborhood of people I've known for 20 years. They all live in this around the 700 acres that a Christian couple bought, envisioning that it would become a Christian community. And actually, when we bought land here, my family we didn't call ourselves Christian at that time, but they still let us buy land. But my point is, that's how, kind of like vegans, that's why I so want to welcome people who are not vegan, because, hey, I knew how that felt when I said, do you think we could buy land here even though we're not Christian? And they said yes, and we could actually, but my point is, I'm fortunate to have neighbors I've known for 20 years, even though we don't see eye to eye on our beliefs. They're really loving, and yet there were times when I lived here and I didn't feel connected to my neighbors or my family, and this would have been so helpful. So instead, what I did was I would move to Berkeley periodically because I was feeling so isolated. But I believe I'm needed here, and I have land, 18 acres, that I would love to have people come to just even to gather. I think now there's a possibility of inviting people to live. I envision community. I've been envisioning community for 45 years, but because we were able, because of a series of events, I ended up owning this land myself. So I want to turn it into a limited liability company, which I understand is the best way to make a community. But I mean, into a business entity that's just not owned by me. But I really want to see what Shankar's up to and see how you're feeling, Shankar. And I also want to point out, and I also like to hear from Forrest if he wants to speak, or she, I don't know what you are, or they. I did want to mention that I was at this 40-minute meeting where we're trying to answer questions, and he did this miraculous thing of making a survey on Google Docs, transforming, and it's making it so much easier for people to categorize the questions. And I just want to thank you for that so much.
Sure. Thank you. I'm still I'm enjoying the block party, except I was not able to actually being joined there. Amazing initiative. What a beautiful minds coming together. And I love all those ideas. I love the contradictions. I love how they all overlap, either as a perpendicular, horizontal, vertical, all integration. I love that. Yes, yes. It's a thread. It can go in any direction. It's making an awesome collective intelligence fabric. Yes, it's amazing. Like, yeah, more to come. Yeah, just a long day and a hectic day. I already missed my bus. I have to catch another bus, which I made. So I'm on my way to Connecticut. So now in New Jersey, probably New York, then Connecticut. So I'm glad I'm able to join now. Yeah, I'm here to learn, and I appreciate every one of you for your every single moment. Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Is that Forrest in the video? Yay! Would you like to share?
Well, I don't. Sorry, I'm just learning this app. I don't really have much to share. I just I'm very curious and intrigued by the possibilities, the power of imagination, what we are, what we can be. And I think, I mean, honestly, I just want to say thanks to Jamin. I've been watching the channel for some time. I greatly appreciate it. It's the right direction, you know, and it kicks off these ideas of, well, where do we go next? And I'm kind of trying to visualize this in my head, and I understand about the chat groups and being able to what's the word I'm looking for? The subtitle the conversation, put it on Reddit. I think this is really fabulous stuff. And from what I've seen with some of the interviews or communications earlier today, this morning, there's some great ideas there. So my question is, well, where do we take these great ideas? How do we build that plan together? You know, is somebody willing to, we can pull together our resources, put together something, you know, written that people can see, something visual, and start moving things, you know, in that direction. If it's a possibility, the realities are, is if the people are there, then we can do it. I mean, clearly we're a powerful species. Look what we're doing to the planet we live on. So, yeah, I'm just curious to see where we go from here.
Yeah, totally. Well, all right. So Nolan and I can share, because we talk about this every day and we've been mapping it out. but we have a roadmap, and that's totally possible to go just step by step, starting exactly where we are right now. Not starting from zero. We started from zero back in 2014. We're now, 6 years in to a mission to save life on Earth. So we now, the fact that we now have this 24-hour block party to meet every Friday is a really, really solid pillar. We have other pillars, like on Tuesday we have the Solution Club. Everyone's welcome to join that. We have a vegan collective intelligence meeting Tuesday afternoon. So those meetings typically go for about 3.5 hours each. And so the Tuesday is a pretty long day, but nothing like Friday. And also, you see, Friday, it gives us an opportunity to freaking just hang out and commune where there's no urgency. If Patricia wants to sing a song, right? And, if Joey wants to tell a story, tell a story. This is humanity getting connected with each other outside of all the institutions, outside of capitalism, outside of politics, outside of everything. It's humanity coming together, a very special slice of humanity. Those of us who are sufficiently awake, sufficiently creative, sufficiently thinking outside the box, and sufficiently committed to saving life on Earth. And I can't think of anything more meaningful, more exciting, more fun, more engaging, more powerful than this. This is it. No one else is going to fix it. We've done, over the last couple hours, we've done institutional analysis on the media, on the sociopaths, on government, military-industrial complex. It's all one giant opium den, They're just sucking on the pipe of more, and don't bother me with bad news. I can't handle it right now. But, oh, man, I'm feeling good now, Just made another $500,000. They're gone. They're just addicted. Yeah, that's all there is to it. And they're addicted to really powerful drugs. I worked for Bill Gates. And I've said this publicly before, I'll say it again. He's the biggest heroin addict on the planet. And his flavor of heroin is the US dollar. It's as simple as that. He's addicted to more. Yeah, he's got really good PR people. He's got great PR people. Their mission is to make him look like he's this super generous guy. Well, let me ask you something. When there's 1 billion people starving or malnourished, and tens of millions are dying every year, how on earth do you manage being both the most generous person on earth and the person who's hoarding the biggest stash of life-giving resources on earth? You tell me that much. You tell me. Okay? These folks are flat out addicted. They're addicts. They're gone.
Well, in the case of Gates, we talked about him feeling like he has to figure out himself how to spend all this money and what to do with the world on a mass scale by himself. And that's part of the justification.
And it's part of the addiction. He's addicted to this ego trip that he is richest because he's the smartest. And
I have a confession.
All right, confess, Patricia. What have you done this time? What is it? What did you do?
Don't lie now. Do tell.
If I had $1 billion, I think I could really do a lot of good. And I'd probably make a lot of decisions myself. I'd pay everybody full time, everybody I approve of, pay full time so you can work on this full time. So you guys better be nice to me because I might be might meet a billionaire.
If I had $1 billion, I would give you whatever to make myself feel good, knowing that I was killing the planet, killing everything. I'd be like, because I've been around those people as well. Damon, that was wow, like that was really incredible. That was a great share, man. That's information. That's personal. That's wow. And yeah, if I had $1 billion, I'd hook Jamin and Patricia, both of you,
Oh,
Forrest,
thank
me and
you.
Forrest too, maybe all.
Yeah. Hey, I have another kind of pause, kind of another way of shifting energy. It's called a harmony story, where I go into an altered state of consciousness, into another time frame. It's real.
All
And I'm
right.
going to tell you a story, but it is from the future because I have a time machine in my brain. I'm going forward into the future. Isn't it great? I'm going a year, no, just 6 months. Wow, you guys, I got to meet the Prince of Saudi Arabia, and he decided that he wanted to give me a couple of billion, no strings attached. I loved it because I told him about all my friends and about Jamin and Nolan and Evan and Joey and Forrest and is that Sarah down there? Yeah, Sarah and Ray, all these people and Extinctus. And he was so inspired. He just said, look, I trust you. Just take it and run with it. And so when I had that money, I'm telling you, it was a lot of pressure because I wasn't quite sure what to do. But what I did was I got together with Jamin and Evan and everybody, and I said, okay, you guys, I need your feedback. What do I do with the money? And so we all came up with this great plan. And the main thing was, though, that all the people who had shown themselves to be trustworthy and helpful and effective and really building the healthy community, they were able to have full-time salaries. And of course, the community that I have been dreaming of building, it all got built. The community building that is for real, it got finished. And there's tiny houses. There's 200 tiny houses that people could come and live in. And we had the common house ready. We were able to build a couple more common houses. And people were able to live together, grow all the food that we make the whole land into the food forest, buy the property next door, which has a beautiful waterfall, is complete wilderness. In fact, we bought the whole rest of the 700 acres of this Christian community, and we showed people that we could be more Christian than most Christians. I mean, because that's what, I actually have a friend here, it's for real. She says that my former husband, Cliff, is more Christian than most Christians. He's not a Christian, but because he exhibits such love. So anyway, and I just want to thank you all that moved here, because it's really great to get around real campfires. And we still do these things online, of course, but those of you who moved here because you felt like it would be good to be in person, I'm really enjoying you. We're having a great time. We're jumping in the cold pond and getting the cold therapy. I mean, drumming, singing, dancing, and all that stuff. Singing, So I love you all. Thank you all for joining my community. Namaste. Thank you.
Beautiful. And welcome back, Sarah. Great to see you. So great to see everyone. welcome to the future, you know, except in the future, there's going to be way more of us and way more flavors of conversation. And I might go up one Friday night and say, you know what? I just want to hang out with Patricia. Whatever conversation she's in, I want to go be in that one. Well, she's in a conversation about knitting hemp yarn to make stuff. I don't care. Just bring me, right? I'll do it. So you see, it will be a social network. Here, let me tell you the name that we've been floating around. The social network of actual conversations.
Oh, shit.
And what does that stand for? What's the acronym? Social Network Actual Conversations. SNAC. What does that spell? SNAC. So literally, the first time I saw Nolan in person, we'd been corresponding and doing Zoom video conferences. And our brother Jamie flew out from Ohio. He's an old family friend and another partner in crime. He's been pretty busy with family stuff the last few weeks. That's why you haven't seen him. But when you see Jamie, oh my goodness. Nolan, am I not lying? Am I lying when I say he will blow your mind?
No.
No, I ain't lying. He will blow your mind. Anyway, so Jamie flies out. We drive down to Southern Washington to pick up with Nolan and meet Nolan's family and everything. So we go pick up Nolan. On the way, we had just, the flash had come. I was like, you know what the world needs? A social network of actual conversations. And it's like, SNAC. So we go and start buying domain names, snack.com, whatever we could get. And then Nolan says, why don't you get snack.bar, snack bar. So we got snack.bar. Cha-ching, snack bar. Look, where do people want to hang out? They want to hang out someplace that's fun. What could be funner than a block party? The only thing funner than a block party is a snack bar at the block party. Hey, why do they spell it SNAC? What happened with the K? Well, it's an acronym. Social Network of Actual Conversations. I'll tell you a little story. Back when I was handsome and single, a friend of mine was also, he wrote a post on Match.com. Get yourself up on Match, right? You can meet ladies that way. Okay, I'm like, well, here, let me read your post. So I read his post, and it said, wait a second. I see someone with an acronym that says TIAIC. Wait a second. That's my cousin Smoker. Anyway, we call each other Smoker. But anyway, so what's up, Smoker? Dude, good to see you. Anyway, his real name is Billy, but I call him Smoker. You can call him Smoker too. It'll make him feel good. Anyway, great to see you, Smoker. Anyway, we are here. We can't hear you, Smokes. Your microphone is muted, but that's okay.
How about now?
Now we can hear you. Now we can hear you.
Okay, fantastic. Well, I'll just listen in. Good to see you. Looking good.
Thank you.
And I'll listen in. So I will take
Welcome.
Anyway, yeah, listen. We're just telling stories here around the campfire. It's an all night, all day, all night, 24-hour block party. So
So
you're
you've been on this since 6, right?
6 a.m. But actually, we got together at 5 a.m. to get everything set up and make some breakfast and, all that kind of, cereal flakes, all that good stuff. So we got it all sorted out. So we've been at it for a while. Anyway, but it's super cool. We've had some amazing meetings today. This is an amazing meeting right here. I was just telling everybody when I was checking out my buddy's post that he had put on Match.com. This was years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, da-da-da-da-da, talking about himself and this and that. And he says, I'm looking for someone with whom, da-da-da-da-da, and with whom I can have actual conversations. And I just thought, how cool is that? Actual conversations, you know? So we are building, Patricia, you're on mute, and that's okay. But we are building here the social network of actual conversations, the snack bar to save lives.
I was on mute.
You're not on mute anymore.
I know.
We're on mute.
I was trying to accentuate. I knew I was like.
Oh, you knew you were on mute. Okay, gotcha. Okay. But anyway, so you guys, between Block Party, Snack Bar, Collective Superintelligence, right? Solar radiation management, cooling the planet, veganism, holistic land management, holistic management, period. There are so many beautiful, amazing tools and platforms in our toolkit that, frankly, I don't see how we can fail. We are.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't want to interrupt you. Excuse me.
Oh, don't you dare interrupt. I'm just kidding. Patricia's my sister. We realized we were separated at birth. So, Smoker, that's your cousin Patricia there. I want to introduce you. Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to check with Forrest because he did have the question, what are we doing practically? And I wondered if you know about, vegan, one thing that's happening is the Vegan World 2026. Are you familiar with that?
Oh, we're part of that.
Okay, yeah.
You're talking
I just wanted so is Forrest part of that? Are you part of that?
No. I'm sorry. I'm not vegan, and yeah, I apologize. I'm not up to date with what's going on with those guys.
Well, you're welcome to be there, right, Jamin?
Huh?
He's welcome to come, right?
Of course. Oh yeah, non-vegans are totally welcome. And but I think Forrest, the question was about practicality. Forrest,
Yes, sir.
You're young. You got your health. What do you want with practicality?
Yeah, really.
Come on.
Well, no, it's not a matter of practicality. It's a matter of just these great ideas, trying to get them into motion. And there's always these starting points, and I really enjoy this though. I see what's taking place today. Just having these fabulous, like Dr. McPherson, Dr. Tao this morning. I watched that. It took me a while to get used to this app. So I was actually watching it through YouTube mostly, as well as just being able to thank Dr. Savory for what he did. I think that's just, this is a day that I'll remember for just years to come. The guy is extremely fabulous, and it was like a master's class. And I believe I had seen Ray. I think Ray was before I was in the questioning, and Ray had such fabulous questions, and I really appreciated his questions. It's just, he was there to he asked these questions to gain insight from Alan's experience. It was just really incredible. I really enjoyed that. Thank you. Yeah, this is a fabulous beginning.
Totally. No. We had two absolutely world class. I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating. We had two world class meetings today, and Michael Gaio's stuff was totally awesome. And that was our third kind of, well, actually, and even at the very beginning of the day, we had Jorge. We were just kind of getting warmed up there, talking about collective intelligence. But like Michael Gaio, after his, a couple hours with us this afternoon, he sent me a text. Here, I'll read it to you. He says, "Thank you again for the opportunity, Jamin. sign me up again for next week. Boom. All right. Now, listen to this. For those of you who are on when we had Professor Guy McPherson and Dr. Yetow of Harvard, and we're talking about these, you know, this mega solution of cooling the planet through SRM. Well, one of our participants in that conversation is a philanthropist, and he says, hey, I'm part of a group of philanthropists, and this is amazing. And what do you guys need? And if you had no money constraints whatsoever, how quickly could we roll this out? Yeah.
And we did laughter yoga too.
What about yoga?
We did laughter yoga.
Laughter yoga. Yeah.
Yeah, during those world-class talks.
Totally. So these are world-class talks. They're fun. They're engaging. And look, it's fast becoming hallway chatter, water cooler chatter, Facebook chatter. It's fast becoming the talk of the town that the world is on fire, and that just ain't cool, right? And that we don't exactly have a solution for it. Bingo! They're going to say, look, every Friday there's a group that gets together and they are dead serious about cooling the planet with solar radiation management. And there's this brilliant Harvard scientist who's leading the charge on that. Then we got Dr. Doom, got Professor Guy McPherson piling on, starting to change his tune. Whoa, you can't make this stuff up, right? And we've always got plenty of vegans, right, Sarah? Right, Patricia? Right, Ray? No, the vegans, woo! And then, you know, mixing it up with special guests like Alan Savory, what a way to kick it off, right? I mean,
You know,
yeah.
yeah, Alan Savory, yeah, all that you're saying, I want to acknowledge and validate that. What you're saying, I mean, it is really, we're seeing history. We're watching history being made. And you know what's really neat is that you said you started about 6 years ago, did you say?
Yeah.
And a bamboo typically will put down roots for like 6 or 7 years, and you don't see anything. And then guess what happens? 80 feet in one season. And so you guys have been putting down the roots. We've all been putting down roots in whatever way that we've been using our gifts. And so we can all shoot up like a bamboo. And speaking of shooting up, how about a little laughter yoga? Ho, ho, ho! Hee, hee, hee! Ha, ha, ha! Woo! Okay, one more time, everybody. Ho, ho, ho! Ha, ha, ha! Hee, hee, hee!
Oh my goodness.
Jamin, do you mind if I ask Dr. Tao's presentation this morning, when will it be uploaded so I can review it again?
Probably by tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jamin, are you gonna?
You know, I'll go to sleep at like 6 a.m. I've been up for 25 hours, and I'll need to sleep a little bit.
You deserve it.
Yeah, I may even need to have a smoke before.
Yep. Jamin, let me
Maybe
know.
he's already got it uploaded. I think Guy's already got his segment uploaded. You know, but then again, I mean, Pauline is a videographer, so she can put all that together.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yep, but it'll be uploaded this weekend. Yep, and then just go back to the Block Party page on Radish. Just go to radish.org, click on the Block Party banner, and boom, it'll be there.
So that's where we're going to be able to see all the talks and everything you guys did today.
Exactly.
I'm very interested in seeing those. I was all the day at work. I was like, dang, I would love to tune in, but I'll be interested in Smoker.
Oh yeah. And we're recording and broadcasting this conversation. So this will be up there. All of our meetings will be up there.
Can y'all turn your heads for a minute? I need to smoke.
Yeah, no.
I don't want y'all to see. I don't want y'all to see.
Everybody look away. Never.
Government, stop recording.
Yeah.
Please. Thank you. All right. I just took my hit. We're good.
Damon, with the format again, is it like, for instance, I went on radish.org and I think one of the vegan talks were like 4 hours or something. So will they be broken down into various sections throughout a 24-hour period, or is it going to be one entire video, of 24 hours?
No, it's broken down into sections. In fact, now is probably a good enough time to
do another
we should probably
section.
break it. Yeah, because we've been recording continuously since for 7 hours. I think we've been at it for 7 hours. Yeah. Let's pause this one. I mean, everything